Hi Pottery peeps. So I've been getting a lot of people sending me videos on these, and personally I don't know if I'm in love with them yet. But I can understand why a lot of people want to drink their cold things out of something like this. And so this one I made, this is the first one I made, and it's got fish on it. It's actually from my mom for her birthday. So she is able to get online in the wilds of Alaska. This is waiting for you when you come home. But I did a couple of more, I changed my clay. I am currently working with B-mix with sand. I find that when it's really hot and things dry out so fast, this gives me a little bit more time because it's got the sand in it. So I switched to doing these and I had a much easier time. This is a MKM roller that has a moose on it and mountains. And then this other one is both these rollers, the fish and the trees, are Jessica Putnam Phillips clay share, her rollers. So since I switched to B-Mix 2, I rolled them out a little thinner, one tick below the three, well, one tick above a quarter, because I am going to put some texture in here. Also, if you'll notice, I didn't put any texture down here, because if they're going to go into a car, holder, I didn't want anything rough that might scratch. So thinking along those lines also. I'm going to show you how to do a template. Let me grab my props. So I went down to the local gas station and I got one of their cups, right? And I cut it up. So those are your visuals. Go find your cup. This is how, because math is not my thing, this is how I make my templates and so forth. So then the first line is the cup drawn out on foam, the foam board or foam, whatever they call it, for craft foam. And then I figured out, well, with the help of my husband, I actually put it into Google what my measurement was and plus 11%, because that's what this clay shrinks, is 11%. So plus 11%, that means I need to make it 11% bigger than the actual cup so that I end up with a cup this size with this size bottom that will fit into a cup holder. So that's my reasoning on it. And so this is what I came up with. So it was fairly easy to do, except for Google translates. It was 7.5 inches plus 11% translated to 8.325. And so it's like, what is 0.325? So I had to go get the husband for that. Anyway, so I drew out my template and this is what I'm going to be using. And so I'm going to go ahead and lower you down and show you how I do these. All right. Let's see if I can get you. All right, so first thing I do is I trace around. If I'm going to add texture, you don't have to add texture. You could just do fun glazes. But anytime I'm doing hand-built stuff, for some reason I just can't keep the texture out of it. So I first draw my, I trace it out. Sorry, still having problems getting my words. And I do have, I don't know if this one, maybe I need to try this one out because I haven't actually tried this one out. I've got all these MKM rollers for Christmas and I have not even used that one yet until just now. So I need to find out. So I'm about 3 inches. So one thing that I do is I just eyeball it. You can measure it, but I eyeball it. Is I don't want any texture by the lip. And so I'm going to draw a line in here. And if you've got a wooden tool like this or any type of marking, if you do it this way, don't do it this way. This way is going to drag that clay. But this one will help push it down so you don't have a lot of goobers to clean up. So since I know that it's 3 inches, I'm actually just going to mark where 3 inches is off of that line. Should probably put my glasses on. God, I tell you, this is getting old. It's for the birds. All right. Oh yeah, I even got my ruler upside down. How wonderful is that? Okay, so let's go 3 inches. Let's double check this one. Yeah, I was off of an inch. Okay, so those are my 3 inches, but I also know that I don't want it to be, actually, you know what? I think I'm going to go 4. I went 4 on the others because they were 4 inch. Yeah, that was my 4. That's why it looked right. So I'm just going to mark 4. And then I'm going to come down here and use my template because it's got that great curve that is going to make our, I wonder what we call these. They're not quite mugs. What do we call these? And I like to do a double line at the bottom. You could do a double line at the top too. That'd look great. So, all right. So I do need to grab probably a little bit of clay. And I'm not worried about these guys because I will be scoring and slipping them anyway and joining them. So take out my, it's already getting too warm out here. All right, so I rolled that this way. So I'm going to roll this guy right in the center because he actually rolls up. I love Tree of Life. I love anything Celtic. Okay, so I should be able to do 3 of them. Maybe. Actually, let's move that over just a touch. I've got to make sure I know where it's stopping so I don't get the top of that, but still get the, okay. I'm going to do that again. So you get to see me mess up and learn, because mistakes are really your best teacher. Okay. Actually, if I don't get that bottom, I can go ahead and roll it back. I didn't get it good enough. Okay. Let's see if we can do the third one right. Did the first one right. Okay, and this is an MKM roller. They've got so many great rollers. And I had to have this one. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and take out this. I have to be careful. In fact, where is my, there it is. I've got one of the mud sponges, mud tool sponges for clay with grog, because it doesn't lift the grog. So I think I got it all the way down there. I'm going to use my template to fix my line. You know what? I'm not going to fix that line. Since I've got this great braid that's also an MKM tool, I'm going to come in here and add some of this decoration. Another thing about doing something like this, gives you the chance to kind of play and decorate when you're doing hand building that you don't, yeah, that looks good. Okay, I like that. And then I'll put that braid also on the handle. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift that up, and then I'm going to come in, and of course I just stretched it because I lifted it up. So make sure that I'm fairly even there. and then cut it out. Also, with working with a clay that has sand or grog in it, now you can cut your diagonal there, but I'm not going to. I'm going to use my diagonal tool because I want to be fairly precise on these. Anytime I'm doing something bigger, I'm more careful. I can't do that with that arm. Hold on. Switch up how I'm doing things. Okay, so now I've cut it out. And let's go ahead and, so I'm gonna save, hopefully that one, or maybe that one. I'm gonna put it under plastic and save it for the bottom when I get to the bottom. All right, these will go back in the bag. I have to be really, really conscientious. And our heat in Utah is so dry that it's amazing how fast clay dries out. If you're in a more humid area, you usually have a little bit more time. All right, so I also have one of these, and I'm going to go ahead and cut that 45. And I'm going to carefully, I don't want to stretch it anymore. I'm going to lay it over and cut the other 45. Get that more to 45. All right, and then it's just a slip and score, and let's put it together. Where did I put all my tools? I know I put them out here. There we go. Let's see. Also, use your other cup. I got two, just in case I could use this as a form. It doesn't quite work as a form, because I tried it out, and since you've added the 11%, and also because it's plastic, it wants to stick, but you can roll up your piece. Just make sure that it doesn't stick to it. So let me get, having to do this mostly one-handed is for the birds, but I guess I'm gonna have to get good at it for a while. Where's my brush? Let's grab this brush. And I'm just using water. Like I said, anytime you're using clay that has grog in it, it gives you a little bit more time to play with it. I'm actually gonna tip this upside down on the cup, and let's make sure we still have you. So I am gonna start working on the bending wheel. All right. So I'm just going to go ahead, and I am overlapping them just a touch. Let's see if you can see how far I overlap them. It's like I join them in the middle of that seam, okay? But I can already see that the clay is sticking to my cup. So let's pull that out. The most important part of this, if you want it to go into a car, is not to make this part too big. So, and since I have lines, I need to hopefully, well, actually, I'm not too worried about matching up the lines because I need to match up the top and the bottom more so than the lines because I'm going to have a handle there. Okay. Now, the nice thing about having that cup in there, but I'm probably going to regret doing this, is I can actually roll the clay against some of it, but that is also going to stick the clay to this cup, and I need to get that cup out of there. If I had wrapped it with paper, or I didn't want to wrap it with paper because then I'd get paper lines on the inside, and this is a fairly big cup to get my hand down in. I could have done plastic, then again I would have got probably lines because I'm never very careful about joining my plastics. But let's go ahead and get this out here before it gives me more problems. I can already tell it's going to give me problems. Come on. I gotta get that suction off. Dang it. Okay, do what I say, not what I do. Okay, probably gonna cut this part out because I'm gonna end up stretching I'm gonna have to cut it out. So let's go ahead and cut that joint. So if you use the cup, use it to just roll it up. Don't start doing your seam with it because it's a plastic cup and it's got a shiny coating on it and it's going to give you problems. Set that aside. And actually I might have to let this stiffen up a little bit. Let's see how it goes. I am thinking of pouring plaster into one of those cups and making me a plaster mold so that I have something to form against. I think that might be a really good idea. So let's go ahead and see if we can't get this back together. And the nice thing about not having any design here is I can really smooth it out. I prefer my metal rib to most any rib for some reason. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and don't like how it's sitting on the rim there. So I'm just going to tack that up here so it doesn't get more distorted. I just might have to actually wait a few minutes. It literally would be probably 10 for this to stiffen up. So I take my knife, my wooden knife, and I get it into the water and I smooth that seam really well on the inside. You can also highlight the seam if you want to. I like it smooth on the inside. I like it really smooth, you know, cleaning, all of that. I like them to where they're easy to clean. I'm always thinking function, how someone's going to use it. Like I said, with this being smooth going into a car cup holder or a boat or a plane. I don't know if planes have cup holders unless it's a private plane. Seems like our airlines, it's not the airlines I grew up with. We used to get little wings and cards and food on long flights. Now it's, I don't know, buses might treat you better. I was supposed to go to Alaska this summer. Now my husband's gonna go without me and I'm pretty sad about it. I was really looking forward to going home. I'm always looking forward to going home. As long as I've been in Utah, Alaska will always be home. So I'm going to go ahead and smooth this joint. And what I might do is actually take my braid up this joint after I smooth it. Actually, where's that other sponge? I will spend more time smoothing it, but I don't want. My videos tend to get pretty long with me rambling as it is. Let's go ahead and, actually this will work. This is my rolling pin. I want something to roll against. not only will it help that seam, I just want to make sure I'm right on the seam. There we go. I'm just going to take this right up that seam. Okay. I'm not worried about those because that's where the handle's going to go. Okay, that actually worked really well. And let me get my pots out. I have 3 sizes of pots. Big pot. Let's see if I can tell you. This is about 3 1/4 on the bottom. It is 6 inches on the top. That's the one we're going to use mostly. This one is the one we use mostly for mugs. 2 1/2 on the bottom, and it is 4 1/4 on the top. And then the little guy, you'll be surprised how much you use this. 3 1/2 on the top and 2 inches on the bottom. So what I'm going to do now, actually, put that back. You really shouldn't do this with the clay this wet because it might morph on us with the memory of the clay. So I'm basically just rounding that off. So let's go ahead and move this aside and let's get our clay. Wondering if I couldn't use this guy. And then I'm not sure I can probably tell you. I mean, this building your template will determine the size of your bottom. I'm pretty sure this is the one I've been using, and it is, let me see if I can bring this over. It is a little bit less, which I like because I'm actually going to push it in. But let's go ahead and we're going to use that tree, part of the tree. Wrap this up really well. Sorry if that's really loud on the microphone. And then I am going to put my little stamp in here, just right there underneath the tree, and then I might sign my name over there. We'll have to see. So now it's just a matter of scoring all of this. I'll show you how we're going to squeeze it in. It's just like regular hand-built mugs, only much, much bigger. I'm not sure. I'll have to check to see finish size, how much this cup actually holds. I don't think it tells me. I'll fill it up and I'll put it in the notes on how much it holds. So now I'm going to always make such a mess. Hold on. Clean up my mess a little bit. Just keep the tools that I know I'm going to need. Get these other ones out of here. All right. So when I'm doing one that is smaller, I do the top, I come back, I push in the bottom, I do the 4 sides, or north, east, west, and south. So I push all those in, and then I go in between them and push. And this is a really good way of getting it to fit without really struggling. Start with those corners and then gather it in. Those of you who sew will be familiar with this. Okay. All right, and then I'm going to come back. I'm just going to beat it with my finger all the way around. Probably go around twice. Then I'll get my finger wet. Then I'm going to come in here, my finger's at an angle, and I am going to smooth that at an angle. So by doing this, my center is actually falling a little bit because this clay is pretty wet, and I'll show you on the others how It almost looks like you've got a foot. So I'll bring in my red rib and keep it at an angle. You can also do the metal one, but the red rib is softer. And I'll go all the way around once with that. Okay, let me show you. I will have cleanup. It's just a lot of the main cleanup I wait until after. It's just easier once it's set up more. And then of course, you know, I'm trying to beat the heat. And I will stamp it down, but make sure that that bottom doesn't flare out on you. Let me pick up one of these. So this one doesn't have, just has my stamp, but it is concaved. And that actually helps on the inside too. But it kind of gives it a look like you carved the foot in there. And I'm sweating again. I tell you, it's going to take me the rest of the year to get back in shape. All this laying around I'm doing. I hate laying around. I'm one of those that I am ornery. When people tell me to rest, ooh, that is, I mean, I play hard on vacation. I don't know how to rest. And I don't like to rest. I like to stay busy. I'm not a good rester. All right, so let's address with, I'm going to do the paintbrush and really clean up that. I cleaned it up with this one first, and then I go to my much finer brush that is really little and really address anything else that's not well connected. Try not to push out because it's really easy to push out. So I'm constantly checking that because we want this to be able to, in the shrinking, in the drying, in the firing, in the glazing, we want this to be this and fit in a cup holder. All right, so now that looks cool. I like that tree. Ooh, this one might be mine. Okay, so maybe I'm a fan of these after all. I guess if they're right. I guess the ones I've seen just kind of, I don't know, plain. But this is a great way to save the environment, having a cup that you can wash and not the constant cups that, well, you know what? I really like that braid in between the trees. Well, we're going to do that again. Since that worked so well. Okay, so I really like that. Happy accident. So, go up between the trees. That looks much better. Plus the roller left me with these kind of dimples. I don't want to smooth them out. So we'll do this and we won't have to smooth them out. God, I tell you, I love that braid. It's one of my favorites. All right, so now, of course, we've got to center this. And I do think making a plaster out of one of these cups is a good idea because then I could put the plaster in here. And, well, actually, maybe not. I'd have to make the plaster out of one of these. But I could do that. I could make a plaster out of one of these. Basically, I would make the plaster right now. Well, after it hardens up some. You end up wasting the piece that you made, but then you've got a plaster piece, the inside, that you can roll up against and everything. That's what I'll do. I have a bunch of stuff that I've got set aside to do plaster. So one of these days, probably in the fall, when I'm able to do more stuff, or able to do stuff with two hands anyway, or two arms. Plaster's heavy. So what I'm doing right now is I'm coming in with my fingers wet and I'm thinning out this lip so it's not the cut square. And just softening it. I mean, this type of cup, most of it's going to be drank out of a straw, whatever contents are in it. It's going to be out of a straw, but you might drink out the other side. So I again want it to be smooth. like I've said before, nothing's going to touch your lips more than the rim of a cup. Okay, so make that a pleasant experience. All right, so I'm just softening in and out. Then I'll bring my sponge in, and then you can make this bigger too if you wanted to by pushing it out, but I'm not going to. If you were going to do that, I would stop here, like just push this part out, and then you could probably make a cup that's more along the lines of this. Yes, I got this one too, because I didn't know which one was going to work, but that one's going to break off into pieces, but I didn't know if it would work as a mold, but it's the same, it sticks to much to the clay. All right, so before I add my handle, which I threw before, if you want to know how to, or pulled, if you want to know how to pull handles, I've got plenty of examples on any of my videos with mugs. But I am going to go in here and give this, very carefully go in here and just smooth that seam one more time. Make sure that it's good. I am going to go ahead and add the handle, even though, you know what, actually I might wait. Let this stiffen up. Maybe I'll go in and mop my face and come back out. But while this is still pliable, let's do something fun to it. It's going to get the braid. Okay, so then I'm going to set it. Might as well. I already know. Let's see, where's our seam? Ha! Okay, there's our seam. So my handle needs to be shortened just a touch. And I'm just cutting this at, I'm just rounding it like that. And then I'm going to push this out. One of the reasons why I went to the Be Mixed with Sand, not only the heat, but I'm worried about how heavy these are going to be when they're full. Because this is, where did I put the ruler? This is 8 inches tall by 4 3/4. So, I mean, granted it's going to shrink, but that's going to be heavy. So with my pulled handle, this is going to be just my standard one. I did a different one on the fish one just because I didn't like the way the seam and I couldn't figure out how to make it look right. So I paddle it out, bottom and then I set it down in the shape that I want. I'm going to put the plastic back over my handle. My handle can be wetter. Well, with the sand in this clay, it's going to hold up more. But I am going to let that sit. I'm going to go ahead and take this straw out. But this handle is literally just a slab handle. I just rolled the slab and put Sharon Hoppy's design, her waves on the top, bottom, and also on the handle. And then I just made a loop and it covered up that seam. And I think it actually will be a pretty easy or comfortable handle to hold. You'll be able to get these type of things, they're going to be so big. You add whatever drink that's in there, ice. They're going to be quite heavy to hold. So the handle, you need to have your whole hand in that handle. So your hand is holding it this way, not like this or 2 fingers or whatever. Okay, I'm going to shut you off. Like I said, go mop my face and give this about 10 minutes. All right, I actually gave this 20 minutes. So we'll see. Handle's still good. Let me bring, I actually want to save that little bit because if you haven't seen how I do my handles, I will demonstrate how I do them now. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and score my paddle up really well. Score the bottom of this guy. I already know it's going to go here and down here. You can add slip if you want. I probably should, but I'd also grab this one. It holds more water. This clay, because of the added sand, is a lot more forgiving. So I'm actually going to push this in and wiggle it. And then I'm going to, actually I think that's still too long. So round that off. Go ahead and push it. Make my little paddle. And then, whoops, push that in. And then I have, ouch, dang it, I gotta watch that. I've got this dowel, and then I'm gonna come in and push both of these on with the dowel. It's my favorite way to do handles. Get a really good connection, and then it's just a matter of cleaning this up. So I'm going to go ahead and take a little bit of clay here, add some more water. I got a bee in here now. They actually fly in because they see the mural. So I got Mother Nature's approval on my mural. The bees like it, except for when they go over there and find out that there's nothing there. So I put that coil there, and then I'll take my little finger tool and just give this bottom a little bit of stability. Also prevents any cracking down here. Sometimes I do it at the top, but not very often. I don't usually need it at the top because I've got such a big connection. And I can go in and make that connection there and there. And I'm going to clean it up. Tell you, you learn to work fast when you're... We did install the window AC because it's getting pretty hot out here. Basically, we're on siesta time. I try to be out here early in the morning until noon. Today was a late start, it's quarter after noon. Because it's really nice out here in the mornings and it's really nice in the evening. But from about 1 o'clock until about 8:39, it's pretty brutal if I'm not running the AC. And I personally don't like having I like the doors open and I like being outside and part of nature. So it's not my favorite. I don't actually like AC. I grew up without AC. No AC in Alaska. There might be now in some parts, but heck, in Fairbanks we didn't even have, actually I need to push that down more. There was only one hotel in town that had AC. Tourists would complain because sometimes Fairbanks would get fairly hot. I mean, in the 90s, even one time I think it got into the hundreds for like a week. It's usually the week of the solstice when we get a lot of tourists up there. And they were complaining because there was no AC. So I tip it over and just double check all my joints here. Should probably put my glasses on so I can actually see what I'm doing. And I don't like how this looks, so I think I'm going to smooth all that out. And maybe I have a small enough Celtic stamp to add at the base of this, which I just might do. I'll have to see if I have a small enough one. If not, then I'll just leave it. Okay, like I said, I am going to come back here and clean up, but I'll wait till it gets set up more. Oh. Didn't finish cleaning up underneath here. What do we got going on? We got some big trucks going up the canyon. Oh, they're taking the cattle. They release the cattle in the mountains and let them graze all summer long. So I got these big semi trucks full of cattle going by. So hopefully I can mute some of that. It's not quite so loud. All right. So I've got that all done. And let's just see. Nope. Unless I did a button. Could put a button there maybe. Let's see. So I just roll a ball and I flatten it out. Smooth it out. Let's see if that'll work. Add us a little bit extra decoration. Because why not? It still might be too big, but we'll see. Oh, that'll work. So I did just a little triquetra. And then I will score that. And let's set that on there. Whoops. That's kind of cute. Give us just a little extra something, something. Must have nicked it right there. I will also double check my handle's going straight. It's a little easier because I put that line in there. And so don't really have that problem. So I'm going to go ahead and one nice thing, if this gets off and we're going to push in the straw now. And since I've set this, it's a little bit stiffer than I probably want to do this. Kind of playing this game out here right now in the summertime. So I'm just going to get some water on it and put the grog back down. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to take my thumb and push it in and hold it with my fingers on the inside, okay? You push it in for however much you want. Because this is going to be where you're going to put your hole for your straw. So you end up kind of like with this jelly bean or kidney bean type of, and I don't have my hole cutter. Hold on. So I just got my hole cutter and I'm just going to cut the hole. And there are some goobers on the inside, but I am just going to let them stay there for right now. They'll be easier to knock off once they dry, but I will smooth out the front. Make sure I don't have any. And there you go. You've now got a drinking vessel for iced tea, a frap, any of your favorite summer beverages that you want to do. Kind of fun, actually. Kind of enjoyed making them, actually, even though at first I was like, nah. But then I thought, well, my mom's birthday's coming up in June, so what do I get her? Get the woman that basically has everything she wants. And so something new, something different. So something kind of fun and something I can do somewhat right now. My shoulder's screaming, but nothing I can do about that until they actually fix it. So also I wanted to make a point, and I keep forgetting because my memory's getting better, but it's not where it was yet. So many of you have reached out to me and messages on Facebook, Instagram, email, and I got the most lovely card. I can't remember her name. Carol? No? I'll write it in here because I saved your address so I can write you back. But I have a really tough time getting on screen. It just inflames the headache and turns it into a migraine. So I'm very limited, like 5 minutes on screen. So I've been able to answer some, but there's a lot of you I haven't been able to get to yet. So that's one of the reasons. I'm not being, I wish I could have gotten right on and replied, but I'm getting to some of them now, but it's just taken me longer because the screen time, it's crazy what it does with the blue light or whatever it is. So I've been staying off of the computer. Anyway, so I hope you like this. It's kind of cool. I really like this one. But then I love Tree of Life and I love anything Celtic. So this one might be mine because I do drink, if you'll notice, I've got seltzer in here, or club soda. It's a coconut one, flavored, my favorite. And ice too. And not quite big enough. And it's one of the bigger ones I have. So that's one of the reasons that I decided, let's go ahead and give these a go. But let's give them, a Hobble Creek pottery type of spin with the texture. Because most of the ones that I've seen are on the wheel. And as you know, I can't do the wheel right now. Probably won't be able to do the wheel till this fall sometime. So fingers crossed. I don't know recovery-wise. He said 6 months, but it's not going to be 6 months. I had this one undone, and I don't remember it being 6 months. Memory does fade. My memory's not the best, but no way. I'll be back on that wheel in before 6 months. Anyway, I hope you can go get muddy and have a great summer day. Get outside if you can, and we'll see you in the next video.